Ladies and gentlemen, he's been waiting very carefully. We are now talking to former Nationals, Angels, Rays, and Mariners second baseman, Danny Espinosa. Danny, what's up, man?
How you guys doing? How's everything been?
We're good, man, and I'm actually going to eat a worm. Maybe if, it's not going to be on this show, but it's going to be on the very near future show where I'm going to actually eat a worm on live radio. I have already said that I would, and Speedy's going to help me.
No, I'm not.
He absolutely is.
It's your bet with your friend.
All right, then you're going to eat a
No,
cricket.
it's not me. I'm
Then
not
you're gonna eat
involved.
a cricket.
I'm not involved.
You're going to eat a cricket.
I am not involved.
You got to eat something.
No, I don't.
What are you going to eat?
This is your bet with your friend.
It's definitely going to be involved.
No, I'm not.
Danny, you see, this guy's going to have a heart attack on this show. He will never agree to anything. He's just like he's a baby. I mean, maybe I should pat him on the back because he's about to cry. But anyways, Danny, obviously there's a lot going on in baseball this offseason. And one of the biggest names that is available is Juan Soto. Your thoughts? Juan Soto coming out and saying that he is not going to take the what was it? Qualifying offer by the New York Yankees, which tells me he's not going to be a Yankee. So where do you see him going, and why do you believe the Yankees are not offering him the $600 million contract that everybody thinks he's going to get?
Well, the qualifying offer is just kind of a stipulation for other teams that if they were to take him and he doesn't sign back with New York, that they get a first-round pick. So that's just something they're going to put on him. Doesn't mean that they're out. I don't see how you can pay him more than Judge. I think he's an unbelievable ball player, but Judge is, to me, the face of your team. He is, the heart and soul of that team. And that's nothing against Juan, but you're there for 1 year. He's an unbelievable talent. I just don't know where he's going to go. I don't know who's going to pay that. When you're talking about these types of players, you're talking about limited markets that are willing to do it. They can all do it. They all have the money to do it. It's limited on who's going to do it. So I could see Toronto doing it. I could see a San Francisco, a New York Mets, a New York Yankees, basically any of your big market teams. I've also heard that he really loves San Diego. San Diego might have to overpay just because of the taxes and everything else. I feel like New York's going to have to overpay because of tax. Toronto, same deal. I don't know. Texas Rangers. They paid a shortstop a lot of money. They've got the money to do it. I don't know. I mean, he's an unbelievable talent. I've had a couple of buddies tell me he's the best left-handed hitter in baseball right now. So coming from elite players, I feel like that's a pretty big compliment.
So salary ceiling wise, do you think what do you think? 650 million is the rumor that we're hearing with the Mets. Do you think it could get to 700 like Ohtani's contract or something else?
I don't think so. I know he's young, but maybe if it was over more years, I could see that happening. But as far as for the same amount of years, no. When you're getting Ohtani, you're potentially getting two all-star players in one. So I see the value there. Not to say that there's not the same value offensively with Juan Soto. It's just that I think if you're going to go that amount of money, you're going to have to be willing to probably take some of that over a longer contract and over some retirement years.
Well, yeah, and he also said Soto's not going to defer any money. So with the Ohtani deal, obviously being able to defer all that money to get Yamamoto and those guys, so that'll be interesting. Do you think there will be a team that surprises you that gets into this, I guess, sweepstakes for Soto, or do you just think it's kind of the normal big time market teams, or do you think there's somebody that might sneak in and be like, hey, we'll give you less years, more AAV? Or you think it's the same players?
I think there could be a surprise in there. For me, I could see Texas being the surprise for me when I saw them spend the money they spent on Seager. Now, Seager's an unbelievable ball player, but still they've got the money. All the teams have the money. I think you have to look now at there aren't as many teams in baseball that are competitive, right? So you really start limiting who's going to potentially, spend the money. But I think that in the end, it's going to be the same big boys spending the money that want to win, the owners that really want to win. But I could see San Diego, Texas, potentially. San Francisco, maybe. I mean, they were willing to put it out for Correa. So if you're willing to put that type of money out for Correa, I mean, I could see it. And, I know Boris saying, oh, we're not going to take deferred money. He says that about everyone. Scherzer took deferred money. Other guys that he's had have taken deferred money. So, at the end of the day, if the player gets the contract he wants and wants to take some deferred money, it's the player's decision.
As everybody knows, we are talking to former Nationals, Angels, and Rays, Mariners, second baseman. Speedy, I don't know why you put his whole teams. Second baseman, Danny Espinosa. You put all his teams. I think everybody that knows Danny knows where he played, okay? I don't know why you do that. But anyways, Danny, Juan Soto, I think, is more than likely going to be a New York Met. I think the Mets have an owner that is willing to overspend for a player. He didn't spend any money last year. I wouldn't even be surprised, being that David Stearns is there, that they could obviously go after Soto, give Pete Alonso the money, and then pay Corbin Burns. What are your thoughts to that?
Well, I mean, good luck staying under the salary cap.
He already said,
I don't know.
He doesn't care about that.
Yeah, I mean, they don't until they do, right? Until all of a sudden it becomes real and there's a real tax to it and they're losing money that they shouldn't lose. So, everyone can say that, but I don't know. At the end of the day, I don't know a lot of billionaires in the business of losing money. So, I don't know. I think you could sign one or two of them. I don't think you're signing all three of them.
Danny, how many billionaires made $1.5 billion last year?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Exactly.
That's a good question.
I mean, this guy owns, he's a hedge fund owner.
We need Elon Musk to buy a team for baseball so he can just blow everybody out of the water.
Right now, he's working with Donald Trump, so I don't think he's going to do that.
Love it. Yeah, I love it.
He can have a baseball team in space. Maybe that'll be his next mission. So he takes the spaceship 4 years ago. He's gonna first anti-gravity baseball, make that kind of thing work. I mean, with the way these MLB rule changes are at this point.
Yeah, with the amount of rules they've added in, you might as well throw something else in there, right?
He's got the first nitrogen car. What is it? A nitrogen car or something like that? It's pretty crazy. And then it's so funny. Donald Trump came out there and he's working with Donald Trump. He's bringing that up. He's making fun of the whole, it could blow up and everything. And his buddy over there is the first one to put a car like that out there. So, hey, you know what? I guess, a sale is a sale. So
there you go. Yep. Nitrogen cars, instead of running the bases naturally, everyone can use nitrogen cars. So even David Ortiz can run the bases now. It'd be perfect. They'll take away the base running altogether like they want to do.
Very true.
So I wanted to ask about the new rules. It's like, obviously you're an infielder. The shift banning was one of the new ones this year, and the pitch clock obviously has been a big one of controversy. And also, you being a guy that's worked with a lot of these youth players too. There was a lot of players blaming the way youth development works and a lot of these new rules for the injuries. What are your thoughts to that?
I don't like the shift. I like that they got rid of the shift. I think for the most part, as a defender, for years, you defend outs. If you take away the base hit, that's great. But I think Jabba could probably say, agree with me, is that when he throws a double play ball, he expects that ball to be turned, not to have it be a freaking base hit.
That pissed me off so much when you're like, yes, perfect pitch. You look and he's not even anywhere near, and you're just like, what in the actual? And
at the same time, you would say, hey, if a guy hits a line drive up the middle, right past my ear, it's a base hit. It's he made a good swing. He put a good, that's a base hit. But when a double play is not a double play and a line drive behind the pitchers, now that's kind of backwards for me. I mean, let's play the game the way it's supposed to. I mean, all the rules, the sliding. I came up with guys that taught me to slide. Slide hard. Put the shortstop or second baseman in left field. That was the goal. Run the catcher over if they were in the way. It's not that you're trying to hurt someone. It was just the way that we played. And I loved it. I loved when guys slid hard on me. I mean, it was just, if one of your teammates got hit and you were up to bat and you happened to be the guy that was ready to get hit by a pitch, that was just the way it went. I didn't care about it. It didn't bother me. But that's gone. And I understand there's a huge investment with the players, and I get that. You don't want the guys to get hurt, but you got to let at some point the game. You have to allow the players to manage the game in the sense of let it take care of itself, right? I mean, guys up to bat, and after his shortstop, whatever, gets hit by a fastball, hits somebody with a slider, and you get ejected. I mean, have some feel. Have some feel of the game. You think he's going to hit you with a slider? If he's got 98 in the tank, there's no shot. So I don't personally like all the rules. I think there's, with all the new analytics and everything, I think there's definitely a place. I think a lot of players would say, yeah, it's got its place. There's definitely positives that you could probably pick apart in at bat and pick apart, sequences and stuff like that. But is it meant to be 100% like this? I don't think so. I would love if that replay would just go back to home runs and let it be it.
Yeah, I hate and I know why. If it just went back to home runs like these little tic tac, when a guy steals a bag but his foot comes off this big for that,
right?
I mean, and that's an advantage to you holding the tag on. I get that. I mean, you guys are taught to do that. I understand that, but there are certain things. It's like, oh, well, this is non-reviewable. Well, but then you can review other things like that. It's like literally like this far off for that millisecond.
Right.
Where you're like, this wasn't what it was meant for.
No. And the umpires would say the same thing. I know when I was still playing, we were sitting on the field one day just waiting for a review from New York. And I remember umpire telling me, like, this is not what this was meant for. They weren't, you have smaller market teams reviewing if the guy was safe or out at first on the first baseman, just every little thing that they can review to try to take advantage of the system. It's not what it was meant for. It was meant on big calls, game-changing calls, to be that way. Now you've got an automatic strike zone potentially coming in. It's like, I just don't. When's it stop?
What is the ceiling to it? Like, we're never going to ever not have umpires because, God forbid, something goes wrong with the earpiece. They still have to make a call. Or It's like, are you going to take everything away where this game has been around in such a storied manner where now it's okay, well, let's just review everything at this point.
Right.
Okay, you're going to call the pitches in my head. And that's one thing that I don't like about it is you got some umpires that are pitchers umpires. You got some that are hitters umpires. And it's the chess match of getting on their side and maybe getting that little extra outer third. Maybe.
Yeah.
And I love that little chess match of it. And now you're starting to take it away.
No, it's 100% true. I mean, I can remember being young, like you didn't show up an umpire because that was who was calling, he was calling the game. And now you watch the game, the guy's got two weeks in the big leagues throwing his arms up at a home plate umpire because he didn't like the call. Like, I can specifically remember Jason Worth and Matt Stairs and, Pudge, these older guys that I play with, be like, don't do that. You take your call. Like, you don't have to like it. Put your head down. If you have something to say, it's with your head down as you're clearing the box. Don't ever look back at the umpire. Like, I knew I had to earn the respect of those umpires and hopefully one day that I would get a better zone. Right? Like, you knew when I was going to face Roy Halladay, like then those guys that when Philly, like I knew that I knew it was going to be, 3 inches off the plate. Like, that's just what it was. You had to deal with it.
And you knew you had to earn your stripes. Like I'll never forget. It was probably my 4th or 5th year. And so you kind of got that rapport. The greatest advice I got when I first got to the big league was from Roger Clemens. And he was like, dude, get the umpire's book so you know their first name. So you don't have to say, hey, yep. You know their name. You know if they have kids. And I was with the Yankees. We were playing the Tigers. And this umpire, I won't say any names, but it wasn't Angel or Joe West. We'll just put that out there.
Thank God.
And by the way, I've been thrown out 2 times in the big leagues, one by each of them. Is that a thing? And so I'm getting crushed. He's not giving me the inner third. He's not giving me outer third. And I think Miggy hit a foul ball straight back. And I walked up to him and I go, you got to be shitting me. These guys are too good. I got to have one or the other. Like, I've got to have one of these. Like, they are too good to not give me something. He goes, don't show me up and I'll give it to you. And I go, all right, if I keep going there, am I going to get it? And he's like, don't show me up. And I got it for the rest of the game.
Yeah. Yeah, I
And
mean, that's how it used to work.
away.
I mean, you earned your stripes, right? You had to earn your stripes. And, you know, it's the way baseball was. And now it's sickening to see these young guys turn around and say something and throw their hands up and argue. And it's like, and now they're going to potentially give them the right to contest their calls on a, you know, ball and strike. They do it in the minors already.
Yeah,
It's
they're
like,
doing
now-
it. It's the tap of the head, right?
yeah, where they doing it in the fall league or something, like where they
Yeah.
can challenge and stuff. It's like, you got to be kidding. Like, all right, then take the umpires off the fields.
They did. You know what else they did in fall league? Check swings now.
Oh,
How do you
They showed like the angle. There's like some. It blew my mind. I was like, what are we doing here?
and to your point, like where's the end? Like, where does this stop?
It won't.
think it
Elon
does.
Musk's baseball league.
No.
Right.
When
Yeah.
Rob Manfred decides to retire, that's where it's going to stop. I mean, Rob Manfred's ruined the game. He hasn't helped it any bit. Bud Selig leaves. He takes no responsibility for the steroid era, and he goes to the Hall of Fame. There's no George Steinbrenner in the Hall of Fame. There's no big names besides Bud Selig from that time, and that says a lot. That speaks volume of where the major leagues and the MLB is going right now in the league. Your thoughts to where you believe the league should go if Rob Manfred, like he has come out and said, he is going to step down in 2026?
Man, I think there's a lot of things that you could do. I think that you could run commercials on a ticker at the bottom like soccer does. I think you do split screen so we're not wasting time. They put all the wasted time back on the players to speed the game up. Well, as Java could tell you, I don't know how many innings we had to sit and wait for commercial to come back, and we're waiting on them. They're not waiting on us. And then it's put back on us to speed the game back up. So I would love to see get rid of. I mean, the beauty of baseball is there was no clock to it, right? We were the only sport that had no time limit, and now we do. You know, realistically, we do. They've sped the game up. I think games can be played quicker, but I don't think that you need the long breaks. I think guys are, you know, more efficient in getting warmed up. I mean, in the 80s and 90s, they used to play games that, you know, under 3 hours all the time. All the time. So until all the big money came in from the marketing and things slowed down, and, you know, obviously money is a big, you know, part of this, but I would love to see the game go back to a fast game. This is America's pastime. Let people enjoy it. Keep politics out of it. Keep everything out of this game, and let it just be the beautiful game that it is. Get rid of the all the, you know, the electronic stuff, all the reviewable stuff. You want to review home runs? Review a home run. But at what point is human error something that's great? It works for you sometimes.
Yeah, Java.
Yeah, no, I hate the fact that they're going to do that. And you see other sports like Danny, like you're talking about, like you put it all back on us, but yet, okay, when we're just playing a midweek game, we only get a minute and 40 seconds, but we're playing a Sunday, Saturday prime game. It's 3 minutes and 50 seconds.
Right.
And I'm done because I'm already getting yelled at by the umpire. Okay, you got 2 pitches. And then I'm sitting there.
Yeah.
For another minute and a half. And you're like, do I play catch? Can I throw more pitches? Am I going to get like, and then you see in other sports where you can still have the time in between. We're obviously going to need time to warm up, right? But you see where other sports have put their advertising and you could still watch the game. There's
100%.
numerous sports that do that.
Yeah.
And to speeding up the game, take away some of that stuff. Like, how does tennis have the technology where you can call in and out within seconds? And we're over here with Errol getting fingers in his butt.
Yes.
And
Please don't bring that up. By the way,
Yeah.
you don't ever want to feel that. So that's for damn sure.
No, but it's true. Like, how is it that we got to go to a 5-minute review in New York and tennis can look at something and in 5 seconds tell you if it's in or out, like, directly on the line? Our strike zone, the automated strike zone they have is still not correct. They still give space above, outside, below. It's still not right. So, I mean, at what point does all of this go away so we can just go back to what baseball is?
I don't know if it ever will.
No, I think we're at a point where they've gone too far forward on this, where I don't think go backwards. I think that baseball. I still love watching baseball, but I just think the way that it's being the tempo is being forced, and I mean, they know that time's important so much so to where there was no clock in the playoffs.
Nope.
Oh, you didn't want to make a crazy call with the bases loaded and have someone step out and strike. Oh, you didn't want to do that, but it's okay for the end season.
I actually just had this conversation with my son. He was writing a paper for college, and he was bringing up issues on how, and that was one of the ones that we brought up. Like, you want us to adapt to these rules, correct? So why don't we have them all the time? Okay, now regular season, you want to speed up the game, right? Okay, let's throw a runner on second in extra innings. Why don't we do it in the postseason?
Right.
If you're going to do it one way, do it the both. And you want us to prepare for that. And, we're picking up games, no games gone past 12 innings and so on and so forth. But you don't do it in the postseason. Why is it different? I don't get it.
I'm with you. And what's one thing that, like, I just happened to be there. My wife's and I's 10-year anniversary, and it was her birthday. We were just in Vegas, and we drive past Summerlin, the AAA stadium, and you realize they're going to have a 52-man roster next year. I mean,
that's a lot. That's a lot. That's a football team.
Yeah,
exactly. They've got their AAA in the same stadium. They're going to be able to pull and make moves whatever they want.
Wow.
That shouldn't even be allowed. Like, you think about stuff like that, it shouldn't even be allowed.
They're not going to pay them. What is a minor league player play? What does he get paid? What do
you think they're? I mean, I want to say the obvious, but what do you think they're trying to do or trying not to do?
Right.
Luckily, it's better
Right?
than like before the lockout, but still, it's not very good by any means.
I mean, it's always nice to see underdogs win and stuff, but like at the same time, like it's also fun to see the teams that want to win and the owners that want to win that go out and spend money. I love watching them win because they have an owner that wants to win. Because this is something more, right? Call it bragging rights, whatever you want to call it, but it's something more to them than just the bottom line. Yes, there is a bottom line to every single business, but like this is something special for them. And look at, they go out and spend money. It's just like any other business. If I invest in my own business and I have a better business than you, it's the way it goes.
Well, and these guys are buying teams because it's fun money. It's not like this is their main investment. It's because they've made a buttload already, so why not invest it? That was one thing I didn't get when we were still playing, when they kept turning down Cuban to buy the Cubs because they were afraid he was going to be Steinbrenner 2.0 and basically like, what you guys want, here you go. And then literally you
100%.
sell it to a family. Guess where they're from, Errol? Nebraska.
Your new record, Java. You went over 2 hours.
I know. I didn't have any segues for my Nebraska drop in yet. And so he was offering 1.5. They sold it for 750 million because they didn't want Cuban on the side of the players. Because that everybody that I've known that's played for him when he owned Dallas, they're like, you remember when those DVD players came out for the first time and they were like crazy?
Oh, yeah.
He's like, whatever you guys want, let me know. And boom, like the next week they were in there. But they were afraid that that's what he was going to do in baseball. Well, now you're changing everybody to be robots anyway, so why the hell not?
Yeah. I mean, they changed. I know the last 2 years that you and I both played was that they kind of got rid of the value of defense and rid of the middle infielder and rid of certain positions. I mean, I always thought it was crazy that I was in camp with Adam Lynn, who was just with the Nationals, who hit 320 with 300 at bats, with 15 home runs and like 60 RBIs, and didn't have a single major league offer next spring training because of the way they were valuing stuff at that time. Well, now it's that stuff's kind of starting to go away, but it's like, if you're going to allow that to happen, like you might as well just let it be a free for all. Right.
Yeah, but at this point, why not? P.S. Adam Lynn hit like 700 off me.
He's a good.
Me.
That guy was good. That guy could just hit.
Oh my God. I got pulled out one time and I was like, thank God you did that. I didn't want to get embarrassed and lose a game.
Thank God you pulled out.
Yeah, right. Well, I got one
Speedy, have
child
you
out of
ever
it. So.
Yeah.
You ever pulled out?
No, I have a different thing I need to know, Danny, though. We talked about beards with Jason Worth. Where does Jabba's rank among the best beards?
So you pulled out.
Excuse me. Can Danny answer the question?
No, he got a big beard. He got a good one. I know for a long time he didn't get to have anything, but now it's looking good.
Just got to keep it trimmed.
Yeah.
There's some grays popping up in here somewhere too.
Oh man, mine's getting there too.
I'm 40 years old. You're already getting grays?
Yeah, I'm getting grays.
My son's a freshman in college. Shut up.
You had your son at 18 years old.
I should have pulled out. Sorry. I was new to the game.
Well, you were, and you stayed at that game. $3 million later.
No shit.
Anyways, well, but before we let you go, Danny,
yeah,
I want you to tell us a little bit about your youth baseball company.
Yeah, so we have the Orange County Crush, and it's like I said before, it's an organization that I played for when I was like a kid. Paul Abbott, a pitcher who played in the big leagues, he used to coach the team. I used to play with the Suns, and after I left, went to college and everything, we wanted to open it back up, and I just thought, let's just open it, reopen it. We'll reopen the nonprofit, and we'll do this for kids, and we'll get some sponsorships out there. We'll get some kids scholarshiped, and a lot of the kids that play rec that are really good ball players that, at least out where we're at, it's expensive to play travel ball.
Oh.
You're talking about dues and talking about tournament costs. You're talking about, anywhere from $500 to $600 a month, probably for most of these families. And, we try to help out as much as we can. Right now, we do scholarship a very large amount, but we've done very well success-wise as far as winning big tournaments. We only carry 11 kids per team, so all the kids always hit for every game. We practice 2 to 3 times a week. We do our normal stuff. I just try to take control of the developmental work with the kids, just because it started because I got sick of watching all this shit online.
Right.
I can't watch one more damn hitting lesson or fielding lesson or pitching lesson about some bullshit some guy turned the computer on and put it in slow-mo. It's like, I could teach that. You're like, fuck. Like, I don't want to hear it anymore. And so in my opinion, I'm watching these kids, I'm going, God, these families are just being misled into thousands of dollars of lessons. How can we make a difference? How can we step in here and guide these kids to hopefully, be a successful high school baseball player? That's my goal, is to get these kids to high school, so where they can really be a centerpiece for their high school team. From there, there's no controlling what goes on from there, but hopefully I can get the kids to high school to have success and contribute to their high school teams is my goal. But the kids are doing well. They've been very successful. We have some very successful teams, and we're fortunate to have good people around, good families, and we'll just keep moving forward. We started with 4 teams, and now we're at 14 teams, and we just opened a line of softball. A friend of mine I went to college with, who was a shortstop, now opened the softball line, and she does all the college recruiting for all the older girls. So, we're just moving along and trying to make an impact in, the sport that gave me so much. So that's kind of the goal.
How what age gaps from what to what?
We start as young as my son's team, which is 8U. And my oldest team is only 12 for baseball, and then softball they go 14 to 18. She does all the high school stuff because Jessica runs all of the college recruiting for all the girls, so she's helping with all the contacts for my stuff. I started it for my son, and then it's easier in baseball at least to start young and build teams that have success and hopefully keep the kids together. Whereas softball, it's so different. I didn't realize they carry 18, girl rosters, and we carry 11 kids, and they're at 18 because the recruiting trips and there's people always gone. But it's been good. We've won some World Series. One of my teams won a big World Series, and we've done really well. We've been very successful on the field, which is awesome.
I just want to let you know, Jabba's opening up a mud wrestling organization, and he needs some partners. So if you want to get involved with it, just reach out to Jabba. He needs some.
I thought it was Jello wrestling.
Well, I don't know. I thought it was mud wrestling. Now it's Jello wrestling.
Yeah.
I think that's a little bit more expensive. I mean, at least in Nebraska, you have a lot of dirt, so you can make a lot of mud. It's pretty easier to do that instead of going out there and dipping into your pocket, getting Jello. I mean, Speedy would like it, right? Jello or mud wrestling? What would you like to do?
Jello.
Why Jello? It smells better.
Thanks, Speedy.
I could see Speedy like Jello wrestling, and all he'd be doing when he's in the Jello is opening his mouth and
All I can think of is "You're my boy, Blue."
I couldn't imagine Speedy like falling over on some fat woman's, or even a beautiful woman's laying on top of him. Well, how would you react, Speedy, if some beautiful woman?
I don't care.
Anyways, Danny, we really appreciate the time. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
And we'll definitely get you on soon.
All right, guys. Thank you guys for having me again. Appreciate it. Nice seeing you guys.
Yep.
Same here.
See you, Dan.
All righty.
Danny Espinosa. And by the way, he's doing great things right now with the Orange County Crush. I mean, it's unbelievable what he's doing. It's great. It's great to see when they walk away from the game, they're trying to help other kids. They're trying to help the youth, get to their place. If they want to play professional baseball, you got to start somewhere. And Danny is finding ways to help these kids instead of parents dipping into their pockets. They can't afford it. And they're paying these, I don't know what you call them, these fake teachers, how to pitch, how to throw, how to hit, and they're really not getting enough out of it. So Danny is actually, trying to find ways to raise money and help some of these kids develop a lot faster and the right way. So that's very noble for a guy that was very successful in the majors. He had a significant amount of time in the major leagues, in the big leagues, and he played for the Nationals, the Angels, the Rays, the Mariners. I mean, he had a great, sensational career. And he's been a good Samaritan for baseball. And you heard what he said, Jabba. He thinks baseball should go back to the old times, stop with these new rules and trying to hurt the game.
I agree with him 1,000%. I'd like to hear that take. We kind of played in kind of the same era. He was a little bit after me, but it shows that there are still baseball purists out there. There is some space for it in the game. I just don't know, as we touched on, it's like where does it stop? Because it's going to keep going, obviously. We've seen it. But yeah, Danny's doing great stuff. Check out his website, OC Crush Baseball. Look at donation or just look at how 100%. He's running everything. But yeah, that's super cool. And that's 9 times out of 10, that's usually what happens is like, oh, we started it because our kids. And I was fortunate enough, Carter played on the same team throughout his entire travel baseball career. And I think they ended up with 8 of the same guys that they started with when they were 8 years old. So it's super cool.
That's definitely cool. And it's great that he's trying to help kids.
But he's not lying. That shit is expensive.
Yeah. I play travel ice hockey. So
well,
I know.
That trust me, I'm glad Carter picked basketball instead of hockey. I know how that goes. When they're that young, they grow so fast, and how they smell that bad when they're that young blows my mind.
You know what I used to do when I was getting ready for the games? I would go into the bathroom. So there was the locker room and then there was the bathroom. I would be sitting in the bathroom because I didn't want to smell what the locker room smelled like. It's a terrible smell. And then my father, he doesn't know anything about sports. So what he would try to do is he would Lysol my pads and everything.
That made it worse.
It made it worse. And I told him, I said, I got to play with these, Dad. So he had no idea. He knew nothing. So he would spray them with Lysol and it gave this funky smell that even when I was on the ice, when I was skating, I was doing a skate around.
Smell it.
Yeah, the referees would come up to me and say, "What is that smell? It smells like piss." So it gave like a piss smell to it. It was horrible. Playing with it and then re-sweating, and it was just horrible.